Today we're pruning this backyard mesquite. In addition to pruning it, we're also going to expose the root flare. Look at that, it looks like a pencil right in the ground. We want to see some flare at the base. We'll also move the watering system further away from the base at the drip line, somewhere around here, maybe even further out this way. Another problem I see with this tree is that it is multi-trunk. But you might be saying, oh, we like Sonoran desert multi-trunk trees. I do too. That's what gives mesquites and palo verdes and ironwoods their characters, their multi-trunk scaffolding system. But when you have a lot of V unions like these, can you see it? Look at these V unions, how they're starting to push up against one another. There's included bark, included bark. A V union is like this, between my thumb and pointer finger. That's a V union. If there's a U union, we can almost go multi-trunk all day long and there wouldn't be any problem. But when you have a V union like that, they start to push up against one another as they start to get thicker in diameter. And that's problematic because one branch will just split off of another. There might not even be any wind and it'll split off. So what's the solution to this? We need to take out some limbs, but not all at once. So for example, we have these three, 1, 2, 3. I'd like to see this one right here completely gone, but no way would I do that all in one pruning. If I did that all today, that means we would be missing all of this material up here and all of this branch that goes all the way out that way. So I would never do that all in one pruning. Instead, we split this over multiple prunings, between 3 and 4 prunings, whether that's over the course of 3 years or 8 years. We can divide it up so that we're not taking as much material out at once. So today, I'm going to go to the ends of the limb and start making those reduction cuts. I'll go to the end of everything that's on this branch we want to eventually remove. I'll go all the way out to the end of here and essentially make reduction cuts on all of it. When we do that, all the material that does not belong to this limb that we are essentially subordinating will start to take up that space, and you won't even notice that it's missing. After everything on this limb is subordinated, the other limbs will start to take up the space that this once held, and you won't even notice that we did anything to this limb. Another issue with this tree is this branch right here. Look at this. It starts low and it goes to a high place. That's a red flag. A branch that starts low and goes to a high place, or I should say a branch that starts low and goes to an outer place. That's more accurate. Why is that a red flag? Well, after years of this branch being lion-tailed, of all of its branches being taken off of it, it has grown too fast and long. And when it does that, it reaches the very outside of the crown where it can then photosynthesize just as much as the main trunk, which we don't know where the main trunk is yet on this because there's so many multi-trunks. But this low branch goes to a high place, photosynthesizes more, and when it does that, it itself starts to become just as thick as the main trunk. And when it does that, especially when it has that V union, that's what puts it at risk for splitting off. So what are we going to do about this? We're going to go to the very ends of this low branch that goes to an outer place, and we're going to make those reduction cuts to subordinate it from the rest of the crown. When we do that, the main trunk will then grow at a quicker rate in diameter than this branch. And when the main trunk grows at a quicker rate in diameter than this branch, then that branch becomes more of simply just a branch on the main trunk, not a codominant system with a V union that will eventually break. In order to eventually remove the branch that we want gone, that's crowding, we need to subordinate everything on it from the rest of the tree. And we subordinate by making reduction cuts and not thinning cuts. A reduction cut is when we take a leader back to a branch. So for example, here's this leader, and on this leader is growing this branch and this branch here, as well as that little branch. If we take any of the branches off, that's a thinning cut. We avoid those. Thinning causes fast growing weak length. So we make a reduction cut. We cut the leader back to a branch, and that causes thickness in diameter and strength. So I see a nice small branch right here that's a nice reduction cut, and I'm gonna make it right there on the leader. Here's the leader, here's the branch. I cut the leader back to a branch. Now I'm just gonna find 25 more of them or 30 more of them until everything on the branch that we want to eventually remove has been brought down and subordinated. So here's another leader. It keeps going out this way. Here's a nice small branch on it. I'm gonna take it back to that branch. When you make a reduction cut, you try to bring it back to the largest diameter branch possible. Here's another leader. And here's a nice branch I can bring it back to. Make another reduction cut. Notice that I did not cut the branch off of the leader. I cut the leader back to the branch. In addition to subordinating this low limb that goes to a high place and subordinating the branch that we want to eventually remove, I've also made reduction cuts near the roof. It's the same concept when you're making reduction cuts to reduce it from something functionally like a roof or a mailbox or the alley or whatever you don't want it near. It's the same concept as subordination, but more in a horizontal manner. What's more is a part that a lot of customers don't pay attention to is that you can make reduction cuts up here to get it away from the roof, because what is up here is attached to the same parent branch as what is down here. And when you reduce this, not only do you have an opportunity to subordinate this from the main trunk area, but you're also taking weight off the main parent limb here, which raises this material away from what you don't want it near, in this case, the roof. After subordinating the lower limb that goes to a high place and the branch that we want to eventually remove, you can see where that material was that we subordinated. It was out here, and it was also out here. Now remember, it's not that we don't want branches and green material in this space. We do. We want branches and green material there. That's what makes a mesquite so great, giving so much shade. We just want that material to belong to what is on the main dominant trunk and not what is on branches that start in low places.